The heat was a living thing, a great, heavy blanket that settled over the jungle, silencing the birds and slowing the river to an amber trickle in the dappled gloom of the elephant graveyard, where bones stood like ancient, ivory trees. A single fly buzzed. It landed on a dried patch of hide stretched taut over colossal ribs. The lion did not stir. His name was Mafalme, a word the old trees whispered, meaning king. But kingship, he had learned, was not a roar. It was a breath held. It was a wait. Once, his roar would shake the very leaves from the branches. It would send the herds of wildbeast thundering in panic, a satisfying percussion to his power. His mane, the color of burnt savanna and midnight, was a thundercloud around his face. He had ruled from the sun-baked Korpier, dispensing justice, settling territorial disputes between the hyena clans and the leopard, his word final as a falling stone. Now, he lay among the bones of giants. The fly buzzed again, near his ear. A younger lion, any lion, would have twitched it away with irritation. Mafalme simply observed it. His left flank, a tapestry of old scars from a battle with a rogue buffalo, ached with a dull, familiar throb. The thorn he'd taken in his paw 2 days ago was a sharper, more insistent pain. He was tired. A deep, marrow-deep tiredness that the longest sleep under the hottest sun could not touch. A soft rustle came from the bone-white thicket. A young gazelle, its spots still bright as dewdrops, stumbled into the clearing, its eyes wide with a terror that had nothing to do with the lion. It was separated, lost, panting. It froze when it saw him, the ultimate terror, the king of the jungle. Mafalme looked at the trembling creature. He saw not meat, but a reflection of that frantic, lost heartbeat. He closed his amber eyes. When he opened them, he gave a slow, deliberate blink. "I am not your danger today." The gazelle, as if understanding some ancient language of predators and prey, stumbled on, vanishing into the shimmering heat haze. The decision came not as a bolt of clarity, but as a settling. Like the dust after a long drought, finally yielding to rain. He would not die here, a forgotten monument among other forgotten monuments. He would go to the river. The journey was a slow, painful pilgrimage. He moved through his kingdom not as a conqueror, but as a ghost. He passed the Korpier where 2 young males, brothers with scraggly manes, sparred playfully, practicing for a crown they already sensed was slipping. They didn't even notice the shadow that was Mafalme passing below. He passed the baobab where the wise old baboon, Rafiki, sat chewing on melon. Rafiki did see him. Their eyes met. The baboon did not bow, nor chatter. He simply nodded, a slow, profound dip of his grizzled head. It was not an acknowledgement of power passing, but of a journey understood. Finally, the air changed. It grew cool and moist, the scent of water, mud, and life cut through the dust in his nostrils. He emerged at the great river's bend, where the water was deep and slow. The bank was soft. Here, he lowered himself, not with a collapse, but with a king's final grace. He drank, the cool water a blessing. Then he settled, his great head resting on his paws, facing the water. The jungle, sensing a shift in the ancient rhythm, began to come alive around him. A parade of his subjects approached, not in fear, but in witness. The elephant matriarch, her skin a map of 100 years, emerged from the trees. She dipped her trunk in the water, then sprayed a gentle shower over her own back, the droplets catching the late sun like diamonds. She turned one deep, knowing eye toward the lion, rumbled something deep in her chest, and faded back into the green. A crocodile, a living log of armor, slid from the opposite bank into the water. It floated, eyes like periscopes, watching the lion with timeless, cold respect. Even the river's assassin acknowledged the moment. The birds, who had been silent, began their evening song. A fish eagle cried, a lonely, beautiful sound that pierced the sky. The frogs started their chorus, a rhythmic, pulsing hymn to the coming night. Mafalme felt the thorn in his paw, the ache in his side. He felt the great, slow tide of his own heart. He saw not just the river, but the whole cycle reflected in it, the drinking herds, the lurking hunter, the floating leaves, the endlessly turning sky. A younger Lion King ruled by the strength of his tooth and claw. He held the jungle in his grip, but this Mafalme understood now. As the last of the sun gilded the water and the first fireflies winked into existence like stray stars, this was a different kind of kingship. He did not hold the jungle held him. It had borne him, fed him, challenged him, scarred him, and now, in this quiet, public ceremony by the river, it was gathering him back, it was claiming its king. He took a final, deep breath, smelling the water, the wet earth, the blooming night jasmine, the sounds of the jungle, the chirping, the croaking. The distant cough of a leopard were not separate noises. They were a single, breathing song. His song, Mafalme, the king, closed his eyes, and the jungle, his kingdom, sang him to his rest, not with a roar of loss, but with the gentle, everlasting hum of life, forever turning, forever new. The throne was empty, yet the kingdom was full.